Hi, my name is Lucy and this is the second video of all I know about Depop. This video is going to be sharing how I became a top seller after only being on the app for 7 months. So what is a top seller? For those that aren't familiar, if you become a Depop top seller, you get the little blue tick next to your name, and this basically means you're a trusted seller of Depop. Depop rewards you with a top seller status when you hit a number of set requirements. These are making 50 plus sales with an average price of £15 plus for 4 months in a row, or bringing in a 2,000 plus revenue every month for 4 months in a row. You also need to have a 4.5 star average in reviews or above and have an average shipping time of 3 days. Becoming a top seller is a great goal to have when you're new to Depop. Not only do you get the blue tick, it also is a good indicator that you're an established shop and that you've got a decent amount of income coming in every month. The top seller requirements might sound a little bit daunting at first, especially if you only had a few sales. It is something that's meant to take some time, hence why it took me 7 months and I did that pretty quickly. But if you're dedicated to building a Depop shop and you put in the hard work, you'll get there just fine. Start moving. I was in a somewhat interesting position when I started selling on Depop because I was just cross-listing my items from Etsy to Depop, so I was adding around 8 new listings a day and it was fairly easy and simple work because they were just direct copies from my Etsy shop. I had a vaguely consistent professional photography style and modelling style that I developed through working on my Etsy shop, and as I was able to list a lot, these were the two kind of things that I think helped to kickstart my shop on Depop. I think when you have 40 plus listings on your shop, you look a lot more legit. Even if you have 0 sales and obviously 0 reviews, you look a lot more legit than, say, Sally's shop, who has no sales and maybe like 3 listings and she hasn't been active since like 2012. Like, as a buyer, you're probably not gonna want to buy from Sally, but if you see someone that has no sales but they do have some kind of consistent style in photography and they're listing a lot, you're more likely to give them your money and take a chance on them. For any of you that haven't made a sale yet, I promise you it will happen. It does feel like it never will, but it definitely will. Your main focus needs to be to make your shop look as less sketchy as possible, so someone will take a chance on you. On top of looking less sketchy, having a high listing count does directly correlate with more sales. You're putting out more items, you're more likely to have more things in stock that someone will like the look of and check out. I kind of discovered that listing a lot was really an important part of growing your Depop shop quickly by accident, because I was just cross-listing from Etsy. Obviously, for you to add 8 new listings a day, it's going to be a lot more hard work than what I was doing, which was copying. But this is what is going to make your shop grow quickly. It might sound a bit daunting to say, okay, at the beginning you want to be adding 30, 40 new things a week to your shop. I understand that might be quite intimidating, but I think just go for how many you reckon you can do and get them done every week. And then if you think you can add more, add more. But at the beginning, listings are the key, so don't faff with anything else, just get a lot of listings and you should start to see sales. Getting noticed by Depop. So I'm adding my listings 8 a day, getting in a few sales a week. About a month into having a Depop shop in the September, I'm on holiday actually. I'm in some service station in Sweden, and I check my phone and I've got a message on Depop from a guy that claims he's a Depop employee. Obviously, I'm like, nah. What sort of scam is this? But lo and behold, it was actually a Depop employee. They'd reached out to me to kind of say, we've noticed that you're consistently adding listings and building your shop. we're going to give you like a point of call to ask questions and have a bit of a contact with the Depop team. So it wasn't a scam, luckily. And from this point, this is when the growth got like really, really good. I got invited to Depop HQ for the following month, which was for the Top Seller program, which is basically a workshop day for people that are on the way to becoming top sellers. And during this period, I was getting a lot of mentions on the Explore page and also in the categories area on the Depop homepage. I was mentioned a lot in the ones to watch category, and this would, skyrocket my followers and my sales. When I reflect back on my first several months on Depop and how I got Depop's attention quite early on, I can really see this as like a fundamental part of how I was able to grow so quickly. There was, I think, a little bit of luck involved by catching their attention, but also I think I was doing certain things that when someone did stumble across my shop that was from Depop, they did see that I had potential. I think the Depop team are always looking for the next up-and-coming Depop shops. I think it's gotten a little bit harder because Depop has become a lot more, there's a lot more people on it, so there's more competition now than in 2019 when I started. But I think Depop is still quite good at finding the small shops that are on the rise. Remember, Depop only make money when a sale is made. There's no listing fee, so it is in their best interest to help you out and help you make a sale, because that's how they make their money. I mean, side note, I feel like they're nice people as well at Depop, so they do want, it's not completely heartless. Like, they do want you to do well because they want you to do well, but they do have, financial interest in you making those sales. To catch Depop's attention, you really need to show Depop that you are on the way to becoming a big Depop shop. You've got to write good listings, you've got to have a consistent photography style, and you've got to be adding consistent listings to your shop. At the beginning, I would look at the biggest shops that I could find. I was looking at ones with like thousands of sales and being like, I really would love to be in their position. And what I would do is I'd just copy. I would look how they were writing their descriptions, I would look how they modelled the clothes, I would look what clothes they were buying, how they price their items, and I would, take a mental note and then try and copy this in my shop. I obviously couldn't do everything as well as these shops were doing. I didn't have the practice in modelling, so my photography was never going to be as good as these bigger shops that had been doing it for years. And I didn't really know where to find cool clothes as a new Depopper. But there were things that I could copy. Like, I saw that most shops had 300 plus listings, so I would use that as a goal as to how many listings I would have for my shop. And things like descriptions, like, you can just literally copy the structure. So by being a bit of a copycat early on, this actually made me look quite good when a Depop member must have stumbled across my shop, because I'd copied what was working for other people and I looked like I had potential. I think it's a really good idea to take notes on what other bigger Depop shops are doing. As a warning, be careful of the ultra big Depop shops. Sometimes when you have a shop that's so successful on Depop, I feel like you don't really need to write an in-depth description. Whereas when you're a new shop, you can't really get away with writing black top size 8. You need to put a bit more work in to make that description a bit more sellable. Techniques. So far on the journey, I'm consistently adding listings week by week. I've copied some of the best Depop shops, and this has got the attraction of Depop, which are now promoting my shop. Now I'm starting to think about the top seller status. I'm getting closer to it. I want the blue tick. So it's time to get smart and suss out what the requirements actually are. So I'm selling a lot of items that are around £15 to £30, a lot of shirts, I was selling a lot of bags, and then I was selling the odd coat. So from this I know it's definitely better to go for the 50 plus items for an average price point of £15 rather than the 2,000 a month turnover option, because you probably only want to go for that one if you're selling luxury designer items and not many of them. This is because if you do 15 times 50, that's 750, which is a lot less of a turnover than the 2,000 a month. So if you're not selling big items, it doesn't make sense to go for that option. So I worked out for my shop that it was all about hitting the 50 sales mark per month. I could not have timed this better seasonally. We were just going into the winter period. If you don't already know, October, November and December on Depop are the best months of the year. People are inside, people are spending more time on the app, and then Christmas comes around. It's a good time to make a lot of sales. Take note of this because the winter season is just around the corner, so if you're in the position I was in a couple of years ago, you want to be going hard over the next few months to get up to that 50 plus sales requirement. From here, it's all about making people buy from your shop. So I know I've got to make 12, 13 sales per week. Anyone that sent me an offer on an item that was over £15, you bet I said, yes please, thank you. Someone wanted a bundle sale, you bet I would make them check out the 2 listings, so I would never combine them because that would only mean 1 sale. If somebody wanted to reserve an item, yes, of course, but I'm gonna need a 10% deposit, so I know you're definitely coming back for the item. And you bet if Sally 101 wants to know if when she wears this jacket with 3 jumpers underneath, as a size 10 with, you know, bigger arms, if that will fit her, you bet I would be standing there with 3 jumpers on and the jacket, trying to figure out if Sally would feel good in this jacket or not. No question is a stupid question when you're trying to get sales. Obviously, don't, you know, if it's not going to work for Sally, don't lie to her. But getting back to people, even if the question is a little bit ridiculous, is the best way to try and bring in the sales. As we went into December, I came across this new technique that worked quite well for me. I had lots of items that weren't selling, so what I would do is I would price them down to £5, and I noticed that when I did that I would sell them a lot quicker, and I would often sell multiple items to one person for £5. So they would buy 2 £5 items at the same time. At this time I was also selling a lot of jackets for around £40–50, and I realised that if I was selling a lot of low ticket items like the £5 items with the coats, then this would balance them out and I would still reach the £15 plus sales target. This was particularly helpful because I'd experimented a lot with different stock over these first few months on the app, and there was a lot of things that I brought that didn't actually work out, people weren't interested in them. So I could knock the price down to £5, kind of get rid of them, make a mental note not to invest in them again, and even them sort of failures would go towards hitting the top seller goal. To conclude, so the last few months of becoming a top seller was obviously spent hitting the requirements. You need to hit the requirements for 4 months in a row before you get the tick. I definitely scraped by on mine and just made enough. Yeah, it wasn't like I wasn't getting crazy amounts. I think I was just scraping past 50 on each month. It's definitely hard work becoming a top seller, but I think it's important to mention that when you become a top seller, the hard work doesn't stop. If you don't hit the 4-month requirements as a top seller, you lose the blue tick. The hard work has really only just begun when you become a top seller. It does get easier as you grow your stock in your shop to hit the top seller requirements if your shop does continue to grow, but you end up setting new targets for yourself personally, so you're always kind of pushing for the next thing. The blue tick isn't everything. It's not like when you get there you become instantly Depop famous with infinite cash. It's just really a nice way of saying you've done this enough, or you're consistently bringing in enough that you're a decent shop on Depop. It basically means you're decent, which at the beginning is definitely what you want to be. Next week I'm going to be talking about all the hard work that goes into running a Depop shop and the pros and cons of starting a Depop shop as your first business. So keep an eye out for that. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful for the people that are on their top seller journey. If you'd like to check out our TikTok and Instagram, I will leave the links below. I'm putting a lot of content out on there that will hopefully help people. We've actually hit 4 subscribers, which, like, no joke, I am like pretty chuffed with. So thank you to you 4 if you subscribed. I think that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching. See you next time. So I worked out for my shop it was all about hitting. Everybody, welcome to another episode of All I Know About Depop. We are here in the rarefied room, and this is just a test to see if my voice comes out pretty clear and if this is a good shot. I feel like it's not, but it's probably the best I can do. Okay.